This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.
Repping the Sphere Rocket team today. Welcome back to the Icon Podcast. I am your host, Gianna. I'm excited to be here, and special thank you to Sphere Rocket VA for yet another episode of the Icon Podcast, sharing some incredible stories. And today it is my honor to share Carrie's. Welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm excited to be here.
Yes, me too. And you said you haven't had an opportunity to share your story really yet, and I'm super excited to have the opportunity to do so today. So, Carrie, I guess just take us back to the beginning. Who are you, and how'd you find yourself a real estate agent?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm Carrie. I am from Mount Pleasant, Michigan, which is in the very center of Michigan. So for those of you who can't see, yes, I'm a Michigander. I am putting up my hand and I'm pointing right in the center of it. Very rural area. I was in the restaurant business for 8 years, and I was a waitress, and then I managed that restaurant for the remaining last 2 years, making $19,000 a year, thinking I had everything figured out. Yeah. And my husband, actually at the time, who wasn't my husband, said, let's buy a house. And I said, I don't even know how to do that. No idea. So we, just like everybody else, thought we were going to buy some land and we were going to build a house and we were going to do all these things. And we were in the real estate office of a friend of mine's mom. And he looked right at me and he said, you would be really good at this. And I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I want a paycheck every 2 weeks. Commission scared the Evan liver Jesus out of me. Right. Didn't want to do it. And then it was funny because he said it again. And then the real estate agent that I was working with, I knew her personally. She said the same thing. So she goes, just job shadow me and see what you think. So I took a day off from work. I job shadowed her and the love affair started right then and there. I fell absolutely head over heels in love with it. The craziness level, the chaos really fed to me because I'm a very high energy person. Knowing that I could meet a lot of people. I love people. So that was another thing that really, came to me. So I went down to school, fell in love with it, went in, they took me right in at the place I was before. And I actually did very well right off the bat, which was shocking. I closed 27 deals my first year. I did almost I did almost 3 million in sales.
Incredible.
My first year. And I actually found that I was good at something because before I didn't feel like I had a purpose. I was really in a down place in my life. So when I found real estate, it was very cool because I was able to kind of blossom into something that I didn't even realize I was going to be good at. So that was really neat.
Carrie, did you quit restaurant industry cold turkey, or did you go into real estate like part-time at first? Like, how did you ease into it?
So at the time, I still needed to have some income. So I actually worked at the restaurant for 6 months. So I got my license and then I switched my restaurant schedule. So then I worked nights at the restaurant and I did real estate during the day. And I did that for about 6 months. At the time, I think I had 9 deals pending. And I said, okay, I really have to if I want to be successful, if I want to do this, I had to take the risk. And I quit my job at the restaurant, jumped full-time into real estate, and I have never looked back. The restaurant owner still wishes I'd come back. And I told him, I love you, but I can't. It's completely different.
Love you, but $19,000 a year. Woof.
A little bit more than that. So
I have been a waitress my whole career life. The food industry. Woof. Like
yes, exactly.
And it's easy for people-centric people like us to do really well in the restaurant industry, but also the real estate industry just has a calling for us to connect with people and help them with really big and emotional investments in their life. And so that's incredible. Sounds like you found your calling. So I love that.
Yes.
And that first brokerage, was it an EXP brokerage or, was it not? How did you make that change? How did you come across EXP? How'd you cut those ties? I know.
So I was with my previous brokerage, which was a Coldwell Banker franchise. I was with them for 4 years. I got the Rising Star Award for the area. I got multiple awards. I was the Isabella County top 3 for a long time. So I was escalating very quickly. I ended up starting to train there for free.
Yes. Oh, a promotion? Awesome. You get to do more work, but for any more money? No? Cool. Love that. All right. Moving on.
I loved it there. It was a classic case of I loved the people, but the business model just was not making sense for me. So I had a gentleman from Grand Rapids, an EXP agent. I actually went on a bus to a Tigers game with him, and I didn't even tell him I was the top producer. I didn't say anything. And then he found out and was like, you need to hear this. This is up your alley, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I looked into EXP for a couple months. I wasn't ready to jump ship again because I loved where I was so much. And I loved the people, and the manager at the time was a very, very good mentor to me. And I had a very big connection. And I think that is everyone's biggest struggle if they're thinking about leaving a brokerage, is that emotional connection they have with them. But for me, ultimately, I looked at this like, I am a good person, and I lead with my heart. However, if I want to be a smart business owner, I need to look at this as a business. And when I saw the EXP model, end of day, looking at it paper, I could not say no. I literally could not say no. I was giving that when I left, what the straw that broke the camel's back was I figured out I had given that other brokerage over $50,000. And when I realized it was over $50,000, EXP, the 16 cap made sense to me, and the rev share and everything else. And I said, okay, this could really change my life, my family's life. So I was going to make the change. And it was very hard. I cried. I did it in person. I did a good in person. Yep.
But good.
And I was there was one other EXP agent around my area. He was a little bit north than me. So I branched out, and then I started my little office, to which at the time was only going to be me and my assistant, which is no longer the case. So again, I just keep going, and I don't know when it's going to stop, but we'll see.
Never. There is no ceiling here.
That's true.
Well, Carrie, you know what? Obviously you came over to EXP because the model made sense, it was up your alley. There's still good people here. There's always good people here. There were good people at your last brokerage, but there are some incredible people here as well. So that sense of collaboration is still here. But, what makes you really say, I am never leaving EXP?
So for me, number one, I can't find a model that beats it. So that's the thing, because, we have some people moving around, and I always check other models, and for a real estate agent to say they don't, number one, you should be. And number two, why not, right? You need to know what your competition is. And there's just nothing that beats it. I mean, we have the rev share. The stock is a really big thing for me. I paid off all my debt with the stock, and still have a good portion of my stock in here because I do the stock percentage on my paychecks. And the other big thing for me for EXP is I switched to EXP right before COVID hit. I left in January, and then that March was COVID. So I left this big brokerage to be all by myself, and then COVID hit. So I was also stuck to my room. I had just put a lease on the little building that I had, and thankfully COVID was a blessing because we did so much. I mean, EXP, I mean, the amount of people that were in the world at that time during COVID, you know, really benefited me because I took classes every day. I was having masterminds with people. I was talking with them. And then my upline that I'm in, which I think is another big part of EXP people don't talk about, I have a very supportive upline too. So I had them as well. So that's part, I just don't know again if there is going to be a model that's going to have all those layers,
right?
To which is what makes EXP work.
Oh, absolutely. No, I get what you're saying, you know, and like, you would be surprised. Actually, a lot of icons talk about their upline and how important it is to choose the right upline.
Yes.
There really is no like true wrong upline, right? There are incredible people at EXP, but you want to find people with the same work ethic as you. And like, you know, something I've been seeing a lot is like, are you a wolf? Are you a lion? Are you a lamb? Like kind of thing. Like almost like a new version of like an Enneagram. But like when you're the most like productive and like kind of finding people that have the same, I don't want to say drive because everyone at EXP has a lot of motivation and ambition, but you know, some people are more productive in the morning. Some people are way more productive in the afternoon, like just kind of finding your drive and like your work ethic and the right upline here is important. And so that's awesome that you found the correct family tree. I like to reference it as here. And, you know, it's really important, you know, in a time like COVID when, you know, the world is changing and, you know, can I even show houses? Are we doing this virtually? Right. How are we going about this? And EXP really handled that well.
They did. And I sold all my houses virtually. I still listed and sold all of the houses virtually during COVID, which, you know, we were really talking about that heavily in EXP. And that was one of the other reasons was the tech. I mean, I came over for the tech, you know, I'm 33. So I would say like, I'm a techie person. And like, there's all that new tech that now I feel like an old techie person. So I'm still navigating through all of that.
Right. No, I get it. I have some friends that are like, because I'm 24, right? And they're like, Gianna, like how do we do an Instagram story? And they call me coach because I help them build their social media and like, I'll swipe up on their stories and yell at them for not doing things a certain way. And like, you know, we live in a world where you just have to be like bilingual, and that is in technology and with people skills. And it's kind of crazy. But that social media is something that people look at and they buy you first, and it's just what it is now.
Yeah. And that was, I mean, social media, that is what I'm kind of known for in my area. Again, we live in a very rural area. The average, I think when I started, the statistic was like the average realtor was 57. And
wow.
Yeah. And that definitely plays true in my area. I was probably one of the younger ones when I started. And I use social media to grow my business. And I'll never forget the time we have our little group meetings on Wednesday. And they're like, well, how much business do you really get from Facebook? And I'm like, I don't know, like 85%. And then everybody was like, huh? And I was like, yeah, and it's free. Like,
yeah,
you don't have to pay for it if you want to.
No, that's incredible. I love blowing people's minds with those statistics, right? Because like one icon I interviewed, she got 40% of her closes from social media. I was like, dude, nobody's gonna top that. And then just a couple days later, I had somebody that gets like 85% of her closes from social media. I was like, whoa, like this is mind blowing. And it's like you said, it's free. And then people get to know, like, and trust you through a social realm. Like they already know you. It's incredible. I love it. And definitely capitalize on it.
I also think the big thing about social media that people don't realize, especially with like the generation gaps, like millennials and those kind of things, I feel like we don't call, right? So it's less scary for them to send me and shoot me a Facebook message than it is to pick up their phone and call me. They're like, I don't want to call you. I'm just going to message you. Can you show me this house? And I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Can you just text me? Or like, I do too. Like, I hate it. I hate when like my pharmacy calls me and they're like, your prescription's ready. I'm like, can you send me a push notification? Like, it's a weird world we're living in, man. But I do not. And it's a very spammy world, right? So I do not answer my phone anymore. I don't. Yep. I hate it. You can leave me a voicemail if my voicemail is not full, and it probably is. So I'm really sorry. Text me if you really need something. text me.
Text me.
Or email me. But like I told you earlier, I have 100 unread emails just this morning.
Yep.
So probably just text me. So that's incredible that you have that flexibility, Carrie, and that adaptability to a very technological world. And EXP is very supportive of a very techie world and has trainings on social media every week. I've heard people talk about it and they're amped about it. And, I have some icons that I've, interviewed with like thousands and thousands of followers. How many followers do you have, Carrie? Probably a ton.
Currently on my Facebook, I have just over 2,000.
Okay.
And that's just in my area. It's very hard to build that up, especially because in real estate, we're not allowed to give away giveaways and that kind of stuff that's what most people do to build up their pages.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to do that. So you literally just have to get people to come to you as a resource. Mm-hmm. So I have a little over 2,000 on my Facebook for this area. And then I have just a little over 700 on my Instagram game. But again, as a millennial,
hey, if you're killing the game, dude, if you're getting leads from that, that's fabulous. Okay, yes. That's all that matters. And honestly, it doesn't matter the quantity of followers you have as much as the quality, right? They're interactive with you, they're learning, you're at the top of their mind. And that is the most important. For all of you out there buying followers, why? For what?
Right.
You're wasting money.
Right.
So anyway, moving on before I get onto social media.
I know. It's like a whole other ball game.
This is a whole different podcast, okay? We'll do a spinoff at some other point. But I want to talk about, Carrie, obviously you're busy. You're married. You are a high producer. You got a lot going on. So how do you take care of Carrie? How do you make sure you're not on burnout mode all the time?
So that's something I've struggled with I'm in my 7th year now, whole time. Real estate is something that you get out what you put in. So if you literally work all around the clock, you will be very busy. And I've experienced that. So, I'm also a mom. I am a mom she'll be 5 in August. So this is going to sound terrible, but I'm going to say it. Number 1, sleep. I have to have good sleep. If I do not have good sleep, I am not going to operate well. So that is my first thing is I make sure I get good sleep because I know that personally for me, I need sleep. It sounds so bad, but it's true. And I know.
Oh my God, Carrie, that's not bad. If you're like, man, I need to have 6 glasses of wine before bed every night. I'm like, okay, Carrie, I get it, girl. Like Thursday, Friday night, sometimes real estate's stressful, but no, sleep is fine. Yeah, but it's totally different if you're like, yeah, I gotta have a Xanax to even fall asleep. Just fine. I mean, hey, but there could be worse things, right? Yeah. Other than needing sleep. So anyway, keep going. How else to take care of yourself?
So definitely that is my first. And then the second thing is my family has suffered really because I've continued to grow so quickly over the last 7 years. Really all of them know that, just because I have been so busy. So I have definitely worked on my life balance the last year. And if I feel burnout, I will do just that. I will say, okay, I'm done for today. I am going to go take my daughter to the water park. I am going to go take my husband and I are going to do a trip, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I actually schedule that time out for my family, which again, because I'm so high functioning, taking a couple days off is enough for me because, if I take a week off or if I go on vacation, by the time I'm done, I'm ready to get back to work. So just being knowledgeable and can recognize when you're getting to that point and then making okay, nope, I need to take some time off. I need to regroup. I need to recharge, etc. And that was hard because I didn't want to.
I know it's hard but it's good for you. And it makes you your best self facing your clients and your team, your mentees, your mentors, whatever that is. You have to recharge and it takes forever to recover from burnout mode. Like if you are on full blast burnout mode, it can actually take 2 to 3 years to recover, which is insane. Yeah. Because of that, you're literally traumatizing your body, which is crazy to think about. So, it is important to take care of yourself. So yeah, block out your calendar, say no. And, there are going to be texts that are important. And then there are going to be texts with questions that can be answered tomorrow. Right. Yeah. So just, prioritize, learn to do things like that. And I think you'll find yourself in a good position because is there such thing as work-life balance? Not truly, but should you believe in it? Yes, you should always strive to have a nice little balance there because it's important, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So, Carrie, let's talk about the Icon Award through your eyes. So that first question is going to be, we don't have to talk crazy numbers because my head will spin, the listener's head will spin. We don't have to talk about that. But I do want to know about how many houses you had to sell in your market to hit Icon.
So usually for me to hit Icon, I have to hit about, I want to say it's about 5 million. So it's about probably around 47 transactions. Because our average price point down here, I mean, it was, I think like 151,000. It's very low.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So I think
Maybe
it probably
I need to move to Michigan.
Yeah. You can get a mansion up here, but you're gonna have to
I'm trying to buy a house in Nashville, and it's like for $300,000 I can get a closet.
Yeah.
Great.
See, up here, 300,000, you can get quite a little bit. So
all right. I'm gonna pack up my stuff.
Yep, come on over. We'll set you up in here. Won't be as much humidity. I'm just kidding.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, my hair will thank you, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so 47 houses. That's very different compared to like a lot of people I interview in California, right? So
exactly.
That's why I like to ask that question. Keep going. You're doing
so for us, because our price is our average sales price is so low, yes, I am closing a lot. Like our transactions have to be high. I usually on average per year will close about 55 deals.
Okay.
Yep. And I hit Icon. I've hit Icon the last 2 years, the 2 years that I've been with EXP. So it's a lot for us, just again, because the median price is so low. But I think that's also fun because, Icons, especially when you are in a larger city, looks a little different than all the rural America that's still trying to sell real estate and make a living at it. And what does that look for like for those people, right? And that was me, when I went to my first conference and I said my median sales price, they're like, you can't buy a single wide trailer on an acre where I'm at with that. And I'm like, I know, because just
it's true. Like I just told you, a closet in somebody else's house.
Yeah.
And it's not far off down here, which is crazy. But okay, so that's why I like to ask that question. Get a good gauge of what's going on, because obviously you're going to sell a lot of different type of production from somebody living in LA, which same thing. They can buy a cardboard box for $500,000. So
exactly.
That's crazy to think about. And then my next question would be, Carrie, not everybody is an Icon Award winner, even if they hit that production, because they have to give back culturally.
Yes.
So, whether that be vetting icons or being a mentor or teaching back to EXP World, whatever it is, what is your avenue for giving back to the culture?
So that was actually one part of, I think there was a question that was like, what was one thing about EXP that you didn't expect that you like? And that was actually one thing that I liked, because I look at the Icon stock and everything as like a bonus, right? Like I've already hit a certain amount, and then after that I get the stock and I get a bonus for more money in my stock, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, the cultural part of it, I really like, because it also kind of makes you slow down. Right. And then say, okay, how am I giving back to these people? And I love teaching. That's exactly, I was training before. Now I have 10 agents underneath me. I really like mentoring and teaching. So the first thing I did was became a mentor. And that actually worked out really great for my office and things like that. The only hard part is like in Michigan where we're at, we don't have a lot of like close-knit people to where I am. So like the mentoring is a little harder if they're outskirts. So eventually, like now, since I'm already a mentor, I would love to teach classes in the world and those kind of things, just because I already do really like teaching. And I actually like teaching much more than what I thought I did. So that's something that is a goal for me too, because that's to my next career goals that I have in another 20 years. What am I going to be doing 20 years from now? And I have a goal for that, and speaking in front of people is a part of that goal. So for me, it makes sense. It again makes me calm down, look at it like, okay, how am I giving back to this too, instead of just running constant every day?
Right. Absolutely. And it makes you, like you said, take a step back and evaluate, how are you pouring into those people around you? Because
Yes.
who you surround yourself with is important. And how are you influencing those people? How are those people influencing you? So I think that's an incredible, you know, aspect to really value about EXP. Not just be like, oh my God, like, oh, I forgot I have to do these classes. Like,
Right.
no, you're excited about them. That's something to add to your resume as a professional. You are professionally and publicly speaking. It's incredible.
Exactly. Exactly.
You get to add that to your resume. That's pretty cool, right?
It
And
is.
so, like I just love EXP. I think it's incredible. And Carrie, we've talked about a lot of great things about the Icon Award, but I want to know, what is your favorite part? Okay, so is it that big hefty trophy, right? It's really pretty. Is it the fact you get to go to EXPCon and shareholders? Is it the fact you get to have the opportunity to speak in EXP World? Is it the fact you get your cap back? I mean, there are so many benefits to the Icon Award, but what is your favorite part? What makes you say, I'd like to Icon again?
So I think it is, for me, a couple of those things. So I think it is kind of like the quote unquote like feeling of being an icon. So when someone sees that you're an icon, they know you're a top producer. They know you're someone that's making money. They know you're a smart business person, because you have to do these things in order to be an icon. I mean, these people, we have to make, it's a certain lifestyle almost to make what we have to do. So I would say like the status of being icon is also important to me, because I like to be taken seriously. So having that icon behind me, I feel as those people would take me more seriously than someone else. So I think just like that spirit of it is really important to me. And then I will say the stock again is a bonus. Like I said, I've taken out stock one time in 2 years, and it was over $30,000. Yes, it was like 36, and I still have about half left in there just for retirement. And I took that money, and my husband and I used it for a couple things that we needed to do. So now we don't have any debt and all that other stuff, which was great. So that was also a big part of me, because again, I look at it as like a bonus, right? I give them $16,000. I have 100% of my commissions from then on. I have some transaction fees, which is nothing in the grand scheme of things to me. And then I get this large bonus that I get to have with the status that goes with it, kind of to continue my career, which I think is important.
Absolutely. And the status is incredible too, because but as far as referrals go, right? So say like I'm over here in Nashville and I've got a seller that's like, man, like I just want to really move to Michigan. It could happen. And I'm like, well, I have got the girl for you, right? So I refer him over to Carrie. And because Carrie is an Icon Award winner, and I know she's giving back to the world, and I know she's earned that status, I trust to send my referrals to you, which is exciting because, that lands you a couple more referrals from possibly complete strangers, but in the EXP world across the country, which is really cool.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. And, I think my goal too with the agents that I have is, I have different ways for the agents to kind of work their way up to solo so they can get to that point. And then I have people that just come in to be solo in my office. But again, it's kind of teaching them all the different ways that I've worked at it for them to get that, right? Because it is like a glass ceiling. People do come into real estate not to pay somebody, but to actually make money.
Right.
So you have to look at it from that perspective of that individual. And EXP is very agent conscious, I think. So.
No, that's awesome. And I agree. They do put their agents first. What better way to keep employee retention high than to give them a piece of the pie and to set them up, for success, and them to feel like, they can pay off their debt, and they do have retirement, and they do have all these great things. I mean, it's incredible. It's really, really cool.
100%. And again, I looked at it, and this is, even with the stock program, because I have agents come in and they're like, well, I don't want to do 5% and do stock and, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, I was at a brokerage where I paid a franchise fee and saw nothing. Okay. That franchise fee was 8%. This is 5%. And then I paid off a ton of debt. Like, think about it in the bigger picture.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I just got just passed my license this last Saturday, and I already have people at my CrossFit gym like, "Oh, you passed your real estate license? Have you picked a brokerage yet?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm going to EXP. I'm like, you can take me to lunch, but I'm going to pull a little Uno reverse card on you because listen about these like stock opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, say I don't icon my first year, which, is probably very likely. But if I wanted to, I could also set out for it. But also I'm a full-time podcast host. So there's other stuff I got to prioritize this year than iconing. But that being said, right? I can still put 5% of every transaction into stocks.
Yes.
Right? Incredible. What will that turn into after this first year, after the next year? I don't know, but I'm super stoked about it because I've heard stories like yours, like, oh, I'm paying off debt and I still have plenty in savings, or, oh, I'm doing this, oh, I'm doing that. Awesome.
Well, and that's the great part because some of it vests and some of it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there's some that you can't touch, so it just stays there. And, right now with the economy and everything that's happening, everybody's like, oh, well, the stock's going down. And that's what the stock does, right? It's stock. So
it's good that it's going down because then it's going to go back up. So,
exactly.
Okay,
it's all part of the game. You just got to let it ride out. I bought out when I did because, that was just what we had decided to do at that time. But, I think just like you said, it's the market. It's going to do that. It's going to go up, down, sideways, all the jazz.
I don't care if you're invested in Apple or EXP or whatever it is. It's going to happen to everyone. Like,
yes.
Duh. NFTers out there or Bitcoiners. I don't care I don't know what any of it means. Okay. But whatever you are, it's going to go up and down. It's a game.
Yes.
It's gambling. It's adult, real life, professional gambling.
That's exactly what it is.
Right, exactly. Well, Carrie, moving on to talk about rookies a little bit, newbies to the industry. Let's use me as an example.
Okay.
Like, hey, Carrie, okay, I live in Michigan. I just passed my real estate exam. I'm a brand new agent. I haven't even written an offer letter yet, but I'm on your team now, and I really wanna icon this year.
Yes.
Okay, what's some advice for me? Is that realistic? What are some mistakes you made in the past that maybe hindered you from iconing? Have this talk with me.
So, okay, this is my wheelhouse because I train new agents.
Mm-hmm.
So first and foremost, especially in our area, because you're coming to Michigan, you have to have a very realistic aspect of what this is going to look like. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I talk about, because I see it a lot, is what kind of discipline, what kind of self-discipline do you have? How motivated are you? How consistent are you? Because all of these things are part of your journey. If you are not disciplined, if you are not consistent, this is going to be difficult for you. Okay. I can give leads, which I give specific leads to my team members that are pre-approved buyers. Here you go, ready to go. Just go show them houses, get it, bottom lined, et cetera, et cetera. But if you don't have that discipline and that consistency, you are continuously going to be struggling. Mm-hmm. So you first have to have a very large, what I call come to Jesus meeting with yourself and really find out what your pros and cons are so we can highlight those, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's not good at something. I'm a terrible speller, awful speller. Grammar is not my thing. I have someone that looks over all that for me now because that's not my thing. Your flaws are not what defines you, but you have to be able to recognize them, right?
Okay, Carrie. So I love talking to people, but every time I'm told no, it hurts my feelings. I'm discouraged.
Yes. So then I'm going to encourage you to go have conversations where people tell you no. Mm-hmm. And then I want you to literally just keep eating that until it doesn't bother you anymore. Because in this business, you're going to get 10 no's before you get a yes.
Right.
So if that's something you struggle with, again, there's that other come to Jesus meaning, like, are you willing to push yourself out of these boundaries, or are you going to let your boundaries define you? Because I've had to push out of every single boundary that I loved, every single one. And then, of course, when my team comes on and they do want to be icon, it is a production thing. I give leads to my specific team members that are new so that they will have all those leads so they can work them properly so that they can get that business.
Right.
On top of teaching them how to get their own leads.
Right. So, okay. So I'm getting to practice, putting in offers, showing houses, having a connection with a client, while also, okay, I may have not originated these. Carrie, what am I supposed to do? How do I get this real pipeline going?
Right. And again, for me, it is sitting wherever you want to sit. I don't care where it is in this lifeline, because after COVID, people sit everywhere. But it's really, what are you doing every day? How are you prospecting? Are you time blocking? Is time blocking working for you? If time blocking doesn't work for you, what avenue are you going to do to hold yourself accountable to say, okay, I'm going to be getting with my sphere at this time, or I'm going to go over for sale by owners and expires, or I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for buy it clientele. Like, you have to have something written down to hold you accountable to do it every single day.
Absolutely. No, I love that. That accountability aspect is crucial. And, being a new real estate agent, you could be dirt poor, dude. I understand. But find a buddy, find somebody that will, at the end of the week, you can get together for a beer at happy hour. They can make sure you made 100 phone calls this week or whatever your goal was. And then eventually, as that business starts flowing, you can hire a coach. You can get with your mentor. There's so much more, but you have to start somewhere.
Yeah. And masterminds. My upline does a ton of masterminds where you're around a lot of people. And I feel like, excuse me.
You're good.
I feel like people will get in a rut, and then it just kind of like keeps them down.
Right.
And I feel like, especially in Michigan, when we have gray skies for like 6 months, that is a big thing. So going to masterminds, feeling inspired, find people that inspire you. I went through a portion where Tom Ferry was my man, right? Bananas. Love him. Did a lot of Tom Ferrying. Then, I have my upline now, and he pushes me. He knows I'm bored. He's like, guess what? You need to do something else. And he holds me accountable, right? So no matter where you are in this business, I love the quote, if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find a new room. And I completely agree with that 110%. So again, it's just being very cautious of what you need to do, because it's just as much as just business as it is as a personal thing for each person, I believe.
No, I 100% agree. And, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And EXP has plenty of rooms for you to upgrade yourself to. I promise you that much. And Carrie, we're creeping up on 40 minutes here, so I'm going to wrap it up with our final question, if that's okay with you.
Of course.
But that's going to be, right, so I'm sure at some point when EXP was introduced to you, you were on the ledge, right? You had that sense of loyalty to your broker. You had a mentor you didn't want to cut ties with. It's scary, but you see the greener grass. You see the opportunity over here. The numbers make sense. The model is just incredible. And you're hearing these things in the industry like, oh, don't drink the Kool-Aid. They're a pyramid scheme. They're a cult. So if you could go back in time and talk to that Carrie, sitting on the fence, or maybe somebody listening right now sitting on the fence, what would you have to say to them?
So I thought the same thing. I was afraid that my upline was going to drop me. And that was one thing I was very scared of. But this is the thing, especially if someone is in the area and looking. I think that EXP is fantastic for a seasoned agent. It makes complete sense on paper. So literally just look at the commission splits, find an EXP agent like myself that is an icon producer so they can explain that to you, because the money will outweigh any other structure. That's just how it works. You get more. And then for a new agent, I think it's important to find a good mentor that has a good team within EXP so you can learn those things about it and then work your way up to solo. So again, you're not stuck in these traditional brokerage scenarios. You have a way kind of like to work your way up to what you want to be. And that's why EXP works. Absolutely. In my opinion.
You're right. And it's kind of a build your own career. I like to compare EXP to a skeleton, right? And it's just EXP is your bones, right? You get to pick how large you want your giant to be, what colors you want them to wear, where you want them to specialize in. Kind of like building your own avatar in EXP world, right? But this one is your brand. It's your personal brand and what you want to do with your career. And EXP just supplies the bones and, the heirs and omission insurance, and you're set, right?
Well, and that was one last thing, because especially in my area, people choose to do private brokerages instead of EXP. And that was something I considered. However, I will say this to those who might be thinking that overhead. That's all I have to say to you. Overhead, E&O insurance, exactly all those things. And you get that $16,000 back. It doesn't, like I said, there's literally nothing else to compare it to.
Right. Like Carrie, you said you had given your brokerage $50,000. Okay, first of all, you can hire a personal assistant that can sit right next to you in office all year round. You can hire a freaking team of virtual assistants for that price.
Exactly.
And probably have definitely have some money left over from that. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. So if you want to take your business to the next level, look at those numbers. Look at how you can start leveraging, because EXP is going to be the best place for you to do that.
Exactly. Hands down.
Carrie, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. We've got about 2 minutes left. Is there anything you want to leave the listeners with as we wrap up?
I guess if it's the one thing for me, I would just say, do your research. I'm a true believer that traditional brokerages are on their way out. So if they're on their way out, look into the different types of programs and brokerages that we have. And again, you're going to see that EXP is the best. And that's why we're the fastest growing brokerage ever.
Absolutely. No, we just sailed past 80,000 agents.
Just did. Yep. And when I joined, we were at 27,000. And that was 2 years ago, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, just last week, I was like, on my podcast, like, oh yeah, we just sailed past like 79,000 agents, like 80,000's coming right up, like here probably in a month. No, I don't even think it's been a week.
Yep.
And we're already incredible.
Well, and that's just because, again, like, you said, and it was for me, when you put it on paper, if you take all the emotion out of it, and you do just business, look at paper, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Carrie, thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to seeing you at EXPCon or shareholders or wherever we get to cross paths next, and hopefully as soon as possible.
All right. That sounds wonderful. And thank you for letting me do this today.
Of course. It was my honor to share your story, and be on the lookout for some mail from me.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks you so
Carrie.
much.
Bye.
This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success, and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.